All right, good morning. This is Peter DeAngelis. I'm here in my dad's machine shop. Beautiful sunny day. I'm going to do a short demonstration of his Nilson 4-slide, his test machine as he called it. It's his last machine left of his shop. For over 30 years since I was a teenager, I've helped my dad in the machine shop, cleaning machines, oiling the little cups all over the machine, greasing the gears, measuring finished pieces, installing and disassembling tooling for the power presses, the 4-slides, or even the vertical German machine that Lou Macedonio got him, although that was very rare. He didn't usually want me to touch that machine. We would swap out broken pins together or full tooling setups as different orders came in, all the way up to when he retired and just basically ran test runs. The tooling is real heavy. Both of us had bad backs, so sometimes we did it as a team. Then he sold all of the machines and wire forming tooling to our cousin from Arrow Sack Machine Shop once he got older. It was February 2025, along with my mother and I assisting my dad so that they could make for themselves all the pieces he used to make for them for decades. Knowing he wasn't going to be actively running the machines anymore because of his health, it just fundamentally made sense for him to sell the whole line to his longest running customer and cousin. There was only one or two sets of tooling that he kept. One was a huge power press tooling I needed a hand truck to lift. They originally wanted, but they didn't end up taking. And another one he was tinkering with on his desk. It made these crown-shaped cups for the end of earrings using the power press. Then there was another one I found underneath this test machine in the wooden box, but he had multiple sets of tooling for that same piece. It was just a slightly S-curved earring post with a hole in it. It ultimately took them 2 trips, one for the machines and then another for the rest of the tooling to move everything out into their shop. They used a team of guys, a huge rigger, forklift. What a spectacle it was over here on the street. Fortunately, I took pictures and videos of us all and the event, especially since my dad passed just a few months after. In fact, they didn't even gather the tooling until after he passed, since right after the machines were moved, he landed himself in the hospital. He essentially never recovered. Never would have expected the timing to be like that. This Nilson 4-slide here was not in the operating back room. It was used as his self-labeled test run machine in the front room. Not typically in production because after a while, when the second compressor in the basement broke, this front room wasn't really adequately equipped with the air pressure that he would set up on the machines to clear the tooling or run air feeds. We tried running long lines from the back room or from the one last air compressor to the front room, but there was always massive air leaks in the lengths or the fittings that were hissing all day and losing pressure nonstop. He just didn't feel like fixing it just for a couple small runs. So he was just using that back room. Plus, there was 2 20 plugs back there that were wired up nice and easy in the back for the big power presses. And this Nilson ran on 110 with the outlet right next to the machine. Although occasionally he would still run a small job on this machine if it cooperated with us without air. He wasn't really interested in selling this machine, always saying it was just a test machine, but I personally think he just didn't want to part with his last Nilson. And I don't blame him. I will demonstrate how this operates. I'm going to show you the machine running, along with the press arm assembly that we have here, while first checking for any interference by hand turning the machine, which also helps prime the lubrication. And by the way, with that being said, I would never insinuate that I could make the final precision adjustments needed to produce one of his impeccable parts. That level of work belongs to a true toolmaker, and anyone who claims otherwise, well, you can judge that for yourself. I've already lubricated the machine before filming using SAE 30 in all the little cups, all the slides, SAE 140 in the gear reservoirs, Alamite 33 in the fittings, Keystone grease in the cam paths. As you see, I'm hand priming it to be lubricated and ready to turn on. My dad would add a splash of Marvel Mystery Oil into the 30-weight bottle for the bearing cups, just so you could visibly see that the oil was topped off thanks to the distinct red color. Many machinists use that same trick of the trade, he'd tell me. And as you see here, in fact, there's almost an empty bottle of Marvel right there on the table. And there's the assembly tooling for the press arm. An assembly like this was used for an action such as punching a hole, help making a bend or flat pressed area, cutting off the wire or ribbon, or basically anything at all. You know, making an assembly like this is completely from the tool maker. This is, like I said, not a factory Nilson part. You know, they make this for whatever they deem necessary for the piece they're making. You know, as you can see by the machined metal and screws, it's clearly showing that it's been made custom by the tool maker to do whatever it was they needed. This one here is all assembled and looks so nice in action. You can see the little pin on the end. This one here was for the wire to wrap around on those earring posts. So I'll install it and show it working and have it in the running demonstration without the other tooling on the slides for you. I'm only going to use 2 screws for the demonstration. And to be honest, my dad only used 2 screws on it, even assembled for operation. He would either use the top 2 or diagonal like that. Even in some old videos I took of the machine making pieces years ago, you can see it only has the 2 screws in it. They're big, bold screws with huge washers though, so needless to say they were adequate for its purpose at the time, since it wasn't exerting much pressure in its usage. So here we go with the hand turning and checking for interference, which I know there's not going to be since it's not tooled up. But it's a necessary habit to have regardless. And then here's the feed handle right here. Off is to the left, on is to the right. Use that so you can turn the machine on and check that everything's good without having the feed pulling the wire through. So now we see everything's hand primed for lubrication, free of interference. All right, you always make sure, of course, nothing's tooled up, so nothing's going to interfere anyway. But you can see the arm up here in action. Everything's installed, everything's working. So we're going to turn it on. And what I'm going to do is engage the clutch with the feed off. But even if I had the feed on, nothing would happen since we don't have a reel of wire running to the machine. So I'll show you both on and off anyway. Here we go. Listen to that wonderful sound. This is one of the smoothest running force slides you'll ever see and hear. Right next to his other one that he sold, the Arrow Sack in the big sale. It's run completely on cams and bearings, unlike the inferior return spring style that less advanced tool makers would use that snap back the slides, causing clanking sounds with premature wear and tear. This one sounds like the hum of an old precision clock ticking the seconds away. And here's if you turn the feet on. And there you have it. Complete and ready to go, running beautiful. The DeAngelis Tool and Die Nilson 4-slide machine by Guido Jr. Thank you very much for watching this video of such an iconic machine. Have a blessed day. This is Peter signing off. Over and out.